dated October 6, 2010 to Commissioner Fritz from the Portland Human Rights Commission. And in it, they basically say that they believe the sidewalk ordinance is a human rights violation. And this is from, I would imagine, a highly respected organization within Portland that basically sides with the position that we've taken. So, anyway, it's a 2010 letter to Commissioner Fritz from the Human Rights Commission with all the names of the human rights.
Oh, that's that.
What is that?
Guys.
That's a positive.
Can I see that?
Sure.
This is October 6, 2010, as he said. This copy of the letter, where did you get this copy?
Off the internet.
Hey.
Off the internet. So can I just say that it is the Office of Human Relations, City of Portland, letter to Commissioner Fritz, October 6, 2010.
Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. Dear Commissioner Fritz, thank you for the request to provide you and City Council with this Human Rights Commission's perspective on the Sidewalk Ordinance citation data that the Sharing Public Sidewalks Advisory Committee, SPSAC, recently reviewed. As you know, the Human Rights Commission advised City Council this past May that we oppose the passage of the Sidewalk Management Ordinance on human rights grounds. Our review of the data does not change this position. We remain concerned that the city has passed and begun to enforce an ordinance that infringes upon the universal right to be free from discrimination and the right to rest and leisure. The data citations highlights a disproportionate impact of enforcement on individuals who are homeless, specifically young men. The data also points to a possible racial disparity. 14% of this summer's citations were issued to African Americans. Meanwhile, Portland's homeless population is rapidly growing. Multnomah County Health and Human Services annual count of homeless individuals shows that from 1995, when the one-night shelter count was first done, to 2010, the number of families in the count increased by 164% and the number of individuals by 195. Please note in the September 2010 enforcement data that 73% of the people the police interacted with gave no mailing address. Homeless advocates at the SPSAC and in other forums have noted that of this growing population, a significant percentage suffer from problems related to mental illness. City Council and the county expend considerable funds in direct programs to address many issues related to homeless populations on Portland streets. Still, shelters are overcrowded. We do not have enough shelter in the downtown area that can be accessed during the day. As the weather deteriorates in the coming months, we anticipate that police requests for individuals on the street to move to the curb are likely to be met with greater resistance. Absent the necessary resources to provide safe and warm places to rest, police will be in the predicament of having to enforce policy that has an inhumane impact on vulnerable members of our community. While the ordinance exempts people from disabilities from enforcement, the police acknowledge that the only way this exemption can be applied is when a person is clearly incapacitated, totally unable to understand police requests. Enforcement data does not acknowledge the invisible nature of severe depression, malnutrition, sleep deprivation, and other physical and mental health problems resulting from inadequate health care and hopelessness. This is the reality for many people without homes to go to. Ironically, while the ordinance seeks to provide improved access to the city streets and services to people with disabilities, it negatively impacts people with invisible disabilities. The human experience on Portland streets is complex. We understand Council's dilemmas concerning how we share our public spaces. We too want sidewalks to be safe. In our view, the Sidewalk Management Ordinance brings an arbitrary hammer to enforcing these goals. The policy essentially says, sit here, but not 2 inches further over there. The enforcement impact of this ordinance is inequitable. It violates international human rights standards. We urge you to address these issues. We wish to acknowledge 2 positives in process. The first is your leadership.
It's really hard
in continuing the dialogue on this issue in the SPSAC. The second is the responsive role of the Portland Police Bureau's representatives to the SPSAC. They have been cooperative with the work of recording data and reporting back to the SPSAC when some aspects of the data did not conform to what the SPSAC requested. They are witnesses to the complexity of enforcing this ordinance and the limitations of policing courtesy and respect for all human beings. We also acknowledge the heat of this issue between various stakeholders in the process. If we can facilitate dialogues between stakeholder groups, we are available to do so. Sincerely, Portland Human Rights Commissioners.
Daniel, what was the last part about stakeholders? The very last part?
Okay. I'll repeat it. Okay. We also acknowledge the heat of this issue between various stakeholders in the process. We can facilitate dialogues between stakeholder groups. We are available to do so.